Subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos.
What's up guys, my name is mrjman and we're back for another YouTube historical video. And I have to say guys that doing this intro is very Thai at this point. Get it? That's a Thai reference because that's the topic of the video today. Get it? Did you get it? Sorry about that. But all jokes aside, we're gonna talk about Thailand for today during World War I.
So without further ado, this is Thailand's involvement in World War I.
So before we start this video, I like you guys to subscribe to this channel because look at the charts right now. Most of the people who are watching right now are not subscribed. So if you guys take the time to subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so you won't miss any videos of me when I post it. So let's get back to the video.
So to explain Thailand's involvement of the war, we need to go back to the late 19th century. Prior to European colonialism, Thailand, or Siam at the time, was one of the most dominating kingdoms in the greater Mekong region, where it waged wars with Burma and Vietnam for centuries. However, during the late 19th century, Siam's dominance has been in decline due to the emerging colonial influence in the region by both Britain and France, with the British taking Malay and Burma while France took Vietnam and put Cambodia as a French protectorate, with the latter butted heads with the Siamese kingdom over the territory of Laos, which at the time was a vassal state of the kingdom. These tensions would eventually lead to the Franco-Siamese War in 1893, resulting in a French victory and the annexation of Laos from the Siamese. In 1896, both Britain and France signed a treaty to make Siam as a buffer state between their colonial territories, preventing Siam from European colonialism, and signed a treaty with the British in 1909, giving the regions of Kelantan, Terengganu, Kedah, and Perlis to the Brits. And on the following year, Siamese King Rama V died, and he was replaced by King Wuchiwaru, now known as King Rama VI, where he implemented many reforms to modernize and adapt the country into a Western-style government. However, in 1912, he prevented a coup plot against him by a group of army officers after they were excluded from the king's personal unit known as the Wild Tiger Corps. The relations between Siam and Germany were relatively friendly prior to the war. Unlike Britain and France, many Siamese embraced the German presence and influence in their country's modernization, with many German trading firms have established many shops and businesses in the capital Bangkok, while shipping and trading routes between the two became vital for Siam's foreign trade, in which they earned around 22 German marks as a result. As for technology, the country employed many of their technology from Germany, and utilizing engineers, equipment, railways, telegrams, and imported many medicines from the country. They hired expertise and 48 German workers to boost the infrastructure and technological development of the country. Some of the Siamese royal family members like Princess Peripaktara Sukumkan, Mahidun Adunyade, and Rangsit Parayurasak, who also have studied in Germany and have strong links to the country. When the war broke out in 1914, Siamese officials have informed the king about the situation in Europe and decided to not take part and declared the country's neutrality from the war on August 6, 1914, as he believed that the Siamese public would not like the idea their country allying with the British and the French, given that they ceded lands to them. But however, their position as a neutral country puts them in a difficult situation to maintain relations between the two sides as the war goes on. An example of this is when in 1914, a few German trade ships from Singapore and Hong Kong seek refuge in Siamese waters, and German trading and shipping routes were cut off, which hit hard on the nation's foreign trade and increased in the import prices up to 30 to 40%, and the imports of steel and cement, which is important for the nation's railway construction, became more difficult to get. However, this only lasted for several weeks as foreign trade ships, particularly Britain and Norway, provided the trade the Germans left behind. As for businesses, many established German companies in Bangkok wouldn't be able to survive their business operations during this time, and led to its closure. Although Siam still maintained their good views and relations with the German government during the war, but with reports of German atrocities like the ones from Belgium and Lusitania, the usage of chemical weapons in the Western Front, which was banned during the 1899 and 1907 Hague Conventions, and the secret plot of Germany's plans to use Indian revolutionaries within Siam to raid British Burma and overthrow British rule in India, changed the opinion of the Siamese government to lean more to the Allied side, and this caught the attention of France. So around this time, the French government were very interested on expanding their businesses and influence to Siam, and create a road link between Battambang in French Cambodia to Bangkok. In seeking this opportunity, the French government sent their foreign minister to Bangkok and offered the country to join the Allies and deployed an expeditionary force to the Western Front, in exchange for their termination of extraterritorial jurisdictions within Siamese borders. However, this upset the British minister to Siam, Sir Herbert Turing, who had believed the Entente can do is for Siam to protest against Germany's actions. But however, Prince Chagabong and Siam minister to France, Prince Charoon, proposed to the king to not fall to the influence of the British, and that Siam's participation to the war would benefit the country as it will show as an equal partner in the war with the Western powers, and would end on equal treaties with both Britain and France, with the US declaring war against both Germany and Austria-Hungary on August 6, 1917, and believing the Central Powers would lose the war, it convinced the king to officially side with the Triple Entente and officially declared war against Germany and Austria-Hungary on the 22nd of July, 1917. With the Siamese declaration against the Central Powers, the government immediately took action on their presence in the country. First, the German vessels that were docked in Bangkok at the beginning of the war were confiscated, while its sailors were sent to a prisoner of war camp in central Bangkok, while 124 German and Austrian-Hungarian citizens were taken to the country's German club, where they were treated in good conditions. However, due to British pressure, they were all sent to an internment camp in India. Also, all assets and properties owned by Germans in the kingdom, as well as remaining business operations, were seized. The government was tasked to recruit many men as possible to form the Siamese Expeditionary Force, where they managed to receive more than 1,284 volunteers as soldiers, cooks, motor transports, and aviation detachments, which was put under the command of Major General Rayai Pichai Changradi, and left Siam on June 20th, 1918 and arrived at the French city of Marseille just a month later on July 30th. Once they arrived, the Siamese forces were integrated into the French army and were sent to different campsites for further training, with the aviation corps transferred to East, the transport group to Lyon or Lyonnese, and the troops were organized to form the Siamese Labor Detachment and were given basic training for 2 months. On August 4th, 1918, the group were deployed to the front and fought with the French army during the Second Battle of the Marne, while the rest of the expeditionary forces were dispatched to the region of Champagny and took part during the Mir's Aganist offensive. However, relations between Siamese troops and French officers in the front were very strained. Although the officers hired many interpreters to communicate with the Siamese, however, it became difficult during advance offensives in no man's land, and given that most of the troops and the commanders faced a lot of racist remarks and mockery from their French counterparts, it became a lot harder to use them during battles, which resulted to the French officers abandoned their advisory roles and took control of the forces directly. This change upset many of the Siamese commanders and affected the troops' morale of the Siamese army. Once the king heard about the change, he confronted the French foreign minister about the situation and knew that this will hurt France's relations with Siam and its goals. The situation became so bad the Siamese king and its senior advisors have considered to bring back the troops to the country. When the war ended on November 11, 1918, and the end of fighting in the front, tensions between the two cooled down. And to appease their Southeast Asian ally, the French Foreign Ministry ordered the Siamese Police Corps to enter Germany and occupy the city of Neustadt der Hart in the Rhineland region, which King Rama VI and other European allies appreciated. The king so far as to describe the event as one of his proudest days of his life. Not only that, they also partake in the Allied parade in Brussels, London, and Paris, along with the British, French, American, and other Allied forces, showcasing Siamese pride to many Western civilians. And because of the Siamese involvement, the troops were given the Carte de Guerre, and when they came back to Siam on July of 1899, the king awarded them the Order of Rama. In the diplomatic side, Siam participated in the Versailles Treaty in Paris and along with its allies founded the League of Nations. They were given one German merchant ship in return and ended all unequal territorial treaties with the West. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if you like it, be sure to like, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Twitch. and be sure to check all these videos that are popping out on the screen right now. And if you got cringed by the pronunciations I said with German, French, and Thai, Thai is just I have a difficult time pronouncing. Be sure to comment down below whether my pronunciation is good or not. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Stay safe and peace out. See you guys in the next video. Adios. Ciao.